Sorry about that, guys. I just realised that I'd left my power cord downstairs, which would have meant we would have gone down in midstream. Okay, there we go. Put it in. Air conditioning is on, more importantly. Whew, what a scorcher. Today was flipping hot, is what I can tell you. Ridiculously hot today. Let me just get my big screen on so I can see what you guys are saying. Okay, so we have Josh Pipebump is in the house. Tickety boo, Groovin Piper, Pipe Brazil. Hello, my brothers and friends in YouTube. Kirk Maxman, Pipe Tree, Wildcat Sam, and John Walker. Thanks everybody for joining. Hope you're all well. Oh, dripping with sweat here in the UK. John, how is it at your end? Whereabouts in the world are you? In the UK, anyway. Obviously, without giving away too much, because God forbid you tell me where you live, John, right? Right, I've yet to smoke a pipe today, believe it or not. Kenjiro, how you doing? Yorkshire Leeds, so you must be near Tim. Wolf Valley boy. In the region, anyway. Alright, so what we're kicking off today. Let's get a tobacco together. 15 minutes, you guys should be getting together, seriously. I'm sure Tim would absolutely love that. I think I'm gonna start with some Dunhill Flake 2015. Last time I smoked it, it wasn't as awesome as I would have liked. HH Dark Fired. I've yet to try that. Ooh, should I give that a try, guys? Dark Strong Kentucky. This came in from John, I think it was. John, this one was one of yours, wasn't it? Dark Strong Kentucky. Alright, we'll kind of do a little online first impressions. Am I right in thinking that there's some kind of flavouring in this blend? Or am I completely off piste? Oh yeah, it does have, right, okay. Alright. I'm going to do a little box opening soon as well. I got a package in on Friday from a very generous OCD piper. Had a bit of a problem during the recording, so the box has been opened, but I'm going to share it with you nonetheless. But first and foremost, let's get this fella opened. It was nice to get that package because a lot of stuff seems to be going awry. I've got a package from Maui, which was supposed to have come in already quite some time ago, and he's starting to fret about it. But hopefully it'll still arrive. I sent a package off to Canada well over 2 weeks ago, and it still hasn't arrived. I don't know what's going on with the postage because it was doing absolutely fine. I wasn't having trouble for quite some time, and it seems to have gone a little bit pear-shaped, the postage recently. Canada, I also send tracked when I send abroad, most of the time. The only time I don't is if I do one of my live giveaways, and it just costs too much money, and it's it's not like somebody's paid for it. So sometimes I'll send those not tracked, but if it's a sizable package, I'll still send it tracked. Well, it definitely smells spicy. And I'm also going to show you a pipe. There's a bit of super glue on my finger from gluing a tenon. I'm going to show you a pipe I'm in the middle of, which is going well, and a couple of new sort of processes which I haven't done before, which have gone reasonably well. Oh right, I remember seeing pictures of this. This is a really attractive looking tobacco. Look at the colouring on it. So you've got some bright. It really is quite soft and breaks apart, so I don't want to wreck it. Hey Hector, how are you doing, my friend? It's a really attractive looking tobacco. It smells quite barnyardy, but rather than sometimes you get that manure kind of smell, it's a little bit brighter than that. It looks like similar kind of stuff. It's this Orlick Dark Strong Kentucky. Yeah, quite right. It'll be my first time that I'm trying any kind of Dark Strong Kentucky style tobacco. Is it smoky? When I smoke it, will it be smoky? I mean, it'll be smoky, but will it be smoky? Because I'm not a big fan of, although I do like Latakia, but in a different way than Latakia. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. I'm probably not going to like it, but we'll see. We'll give it our best shot. You find it sweet? Okay, that's good. I like that. The Kentucky cigars absolutely repulsed me. I really did not enjoy that at all. I probably would not smoke that again. Sometimes you'll smoke something, you don't like it, and you'll go back to it in the hope that you'll enjoy it the next time round. But okay, I guess the option here is to fold and stuff, so you get the different sort of things, the different flavors, or you can just rub it out and mix it all together. Yeah, we were just saying that, Hector. I seem to remember to recall that this has some kind of flavoring. Which is okay for me. Hey Mark, how you doing? We were wondering what happened to you, Wildcat. We sent out a search party. This dark part of this tobacco does remind one of Latakia, so we shall see. Humidity is good. This is really bang on. Yeah, come on guys, you guys have seen my taste. What do you think? Will I or won't I like it? Let's take a vote. I need to give it another whiff. I gotta say, it doesn't have the aroma of that sort of smoky Kentucky cigar, which was disgusting to me. This is Orlick's Dark Strong Kentucky, and I've never tried any of these Dark Strong tobaccos so far. Yes, Old Dark Fired. I've never smoked that as well. Pipe Brazil. I assume that package that I sent you never arrived. I sent you a big box of tobacco a couple of years back, and I assume it didn't arrive, did it? Yeah, I'm thinking now that maybe I will, simply because, hey Dwarven, that's such a shame, Pipe Brazil. It's very frustrating when you send stuff and it doesn't arrive. I don't know if it's because people are helping themselves to it, or the customs find it and then decide not to send it on, but It's frustrating. It was a very heavy box of tobacco, I can tell you that much. Okay, the pipe. I suppose I was going to smoke the Northern Briar, but I suppose I should smoke it in a pipe that I can rely on. So I'm going to smoke it in the old Northern Briars, the Quebec. Yeah, golden sliced is a nice tobacco. I should really smoke it on its own more. I mean, as you guys know, that I use it with London Fog, but I should really give it a go more on its own. I do smoke it from time to time, and I enjoy it. Yeah, I'm sorry, Pipe Brazil. So this is one of the Big Ben filters. Ceramic on both ends, so it makes no difference which way in it goes. Okie dokie. Here we go. Hey Mike. We're just trying Dark Strong Kentucky for the first time. First thing I can tell you is that the aroma coming off it in the room reminds me so much of a classic pipe aroma. It reminds me of my childhood, one of the teachers that used to smoke a pipe. It reminds me of when you walk into a pipe club or a pipe show or something like that where everybody's smoking. You get that kind of universal pipe smell, and this is what it smells like. So that's a good thing so far. That's the trial right. He did smoke it in the class. In those days, there was no restrictions. We're talking about 40 years ago. He even smoked a cigar on occasion. I've mentioned it a few times on my channel. I've spoken about it in one of my storytellings. He had a corn cob and he had a falcon. And even though I was only about 7 or 8 at the time, or 9, it's still such a distinctive memory that I can still say with confidence that he had a corn cob, because I remember the distinctly orangey yellowy stem, and he always reminds me of Popeye. And the falcon I remember because it was a metal stem, and I'm pretty sure it was a falcon, or certainly a pipe of that style. And in class, yeah. It really was a distraction. I loved the smell of it, and I know he smoked Clan, because later on in life, when I started to see pouches of Clan, I recall that tartan kind of design on the pouch. So he was a bit of an art. Excuse me, I almost said something I shouldn't say, but he smoked Clan. So there you go. Enough said. Say no more. Well, the first thing I need to say is that the first couple of minutes of this bowl is delicious. Loads of smoke. There's a fruity sweetness to it. There's a bit of spiciness on the retrohale, but it's not a smoky spiciness. I'm not getting that yet. Maybe I'll still get that and not like it. We'll see. But so far, so good. And he would smoke a cigar. I remember he used to have the Tubos cigars. I think it was white, so I think it was Romeo and Juliet probably. And he used to smoke it for a few minutes, probably because in those days, smoking a cigar, it was probably a bit of a luxury. And he would smoke maybe an inch of it and then put it back in the tube, and then maybe bring it out a couple of hours later. And I think he would smoke it over a few days as well. And he also partook of snuff quite a bit as well. So he was basically a nicotine fiend. He was a fiend generally, but that's besides the point. We won't get into that. No, get your minds out of the gutter. Not in that respect. No, not chewing. Not that I'm aware of. Not that I can recall. Milder than Golden Slice, Andy. Not too sure. As I said, I don't smoke Golden Slice that much on its own, so it'd be a bit difficult for me to give you a real sort of educated opinion on that. But it's a different beast, isn't it? It's a completely different tobacco. I'm trying to think what it reminds me of. Who doesn't like Cuban Cohibas? I think this reminds me a little bit of Three Nuns Green. And even a bit of Dark Twist from McBaron, which I haven't smoked for a while now. It was one of my favourites a while back, but it's just amazing how you sort of just find new stuff and enjoy it. Hey Chad, how you doing? Trying some Orlick Dark Strong Kentucky for the first time, and so far, really enjoying it. Hey Geary. I didn't think I would like it because of the Kentucky, but it's delicious. So far, so good. Yeah, it's very possible, Pipes and Pictures. We all have different palates. And how long ago did you try it? Okay, Pipe Brazil, thank you very much for joining. All the best. If you can think of a way that I can get some stuff to you, I would be prepared to have another go. But I would want to have some reasonable confidence that you'll get it. Hector, I would probably agree with you. This has more flavour than Dark Twist. Dark Twist is good. Yeah, it's milder than this. But I sort of really did enjoy that little introduction into Kentucky with things like Dark Twist. And there was another tobacco which I enjoyed for a while. That was the Benson & Hedges. It was called Mellow Mixture before, but now it's called something else. Special Virginia, I think it's called. And I really raved about that when I had a pouch of it. Why do these people say buy a cheap pipe as your first smoke? I suppose the logic behind it is in case you don't like it and you end up not smoking and taking up the pipe, then you won't have wasted too much money. But I would encourage you to buy something in between cheap and cheap and medium. And I would encourage you to buy, say, a 50 or a 60 pound Savinelli as a first pipe before, based on my personal experience. Everybody has a different experience, but based on my personal experience is to buy a Savinelli, a pre-carbonized Savinelli, or a Stanwell, something like that. 50-60 pounds, I personally, I'm going to differ with Josh, although I respect Josh's opinion, but I would differ with him on that. I would not buy an estate pipe personally, because you don't know what you're getting, and that could seriously put you off smoking a pipe. You end up getting a pipe which has been it's gone bitter, or possibly has some sort of devil's own tobacco legacy, like granny pants in there, you know. I would go with a pre-carbonized bowl. Don't take an opinion until you've smoked a few bowls in it. Rather, don't make it an opinion until you've smoked a few bowls in it. And bones would be good, but I think that they are naked, and I wouldn't advise a naked bowl for a beginner, personally. Blakemar, you're absolutely right. I don't know why I didn't think of that. A Blakemar or a lower end Northern Briars, fantastic, definitely. Those will smoke good from the off. Good call there, Hector. One of the lower end Northern Briars, which you can get for £60-70, but you'd have to wait for it. Those are a great deal. But I wouldn't go for an estate pipe. I personally don't advise corn cobs, based on my experience. Wildcat, I don't know if I would buy from Savinelli on their webpage. I think they're pricier than, depending on where you are, of course. If you're in the UK, just go to My Smoking Shop, GQ Tobaccos, any of the English ones. You can pick up the lower end Savinellis for 50-60 quid. And I think if you go to Savinelli, you'll pay more than that. You could also get the Rossi line, which is this sort of kind of a seconds range of Savinelli, which will be about 20% cheaper than the lower ones, so maybe £40-50. That's a great deal. But Hector's absolutely right. Blakemar Briars or Northern Briars, definitely go for that. Corn cob as well, I would say some people absolutely love them and swear by them, but for me they just never worked. There you go, $21.99. $11.99. I wouldn't encourage you to go for an $11.99 pipe, personally. Yeah, you're right, Josh. Everybody's got a different experience. The only reason why I say, I mean, in terms of smoking qualities, an estate pipe is often a good idea, because they've been well sort of run in, and it should be, they often will be a good smoke. But just because that, exactly, Hector, just because that first smoke is crucial, not to be put off, I would say better off to smoke a new pipe and smoke an aromatic, a gentle aromatic, because you want flavour straight away. You want to appreciate what a pipe can give you, and especially a new pipe, you know, flavours won't be so distinct if you were to go, say, for a pure Virginia in a new pipe. So I would say go for something like Erin Moore, or that kind of idea would be a fantastic way to start. Well, so far so good. This is really, really nice. I'm enjoying it thoroughly. It's Orlick Darkstone, Kentucky. The HH Old Dark Fired, is that going to be similar to this, or is that going to be more punchy? Very funny, Chad. Were you being serious? I almost splattered coffee all over the room, Hector. Chad, I'm seriously offended by that remark. I think I have tried Old Ironside. I think that's a Latakia, isn't it? A long time ago. And I do have a couple. I do have a couple of old tins in my cellar, which I don't know if I'll ever open. I'm feeling tyrannized, particularly tyrannized. How does it taste to you, John? Oh, this tobacco is great. Seems to have a bit of everything here. You've got the Virginias, you've got the spiciness, the Retro Hill is great. There's that Kentucky, which gives it a little bit of spiciness in the mouth as well. There's a bit of sweetness, there's good tobacco flavour. It's great. What's not to like? Cheers, Hector. John, great call. Thank you for sending this to me. Not sure what the nicotine is like on this. Might be getting a little bit of a nick hit. My head's feeling something. Maybe I'm smoking it a little bit too fast. Plummy flavor's a good thing, isn't it? Barbecue sauce, that sounds like a good thing. You prefer HH? Alright, well maybe I'll try that one at some point. Alright, so I just want to give you guys some an update on where I'm up to with my pipes. As you know, I got some blocks from Ian Walker. So the first one I made was that panelled one, which you've probably seen by now, which came out really well, besides for my little argument with the end of the shank. The hammer, yes. Thor. Yay, great minds pipe, grump, Josh. Came out very well. Very happy with it. I like this thick shank. It's probably the thickest shank I've ever made, and it gives it a certain, I think it gives it an artisanal look, because you do tend to find a lot of artisan pipes tend to have really wide shanks, you know, sometimes, you know, oval shaped or all different freehandy kind of shapes. The drill on this one worked out fantastic as well. Oh, I haven't seen any nirrups like that. Cool, I'll have to check those out. But all in all, worked out well. The plateau's quite nice. Not as nice as I would have liked, but it's not bad. But you're completely up to relying on nature there. So I do need to sort out the stem. It's just a temporary stem on there for now. And I started another one on Friday. And I used a new process, but just a slightly different sort of way of doing things. This is the pipe that we have now, quite a nice plateau on this one, and I want to give it a real sort of freehand kind of look to the shank. And what I did with this one was I actually drilled, I've got a pencil handy, in order to, when I do the stem, oh, where's the stem? I brought up the blank. So this is a stem which I'm making from scratch, and I've started doing a little bit of profile work on the stem. This is a Cumberland stem, or brindle as Mike would call it, and I glued this in. I drilled and glued the tenon, the 9mm tenon, and as I say, gave it a little bit of a profile, which obviously still has to be sanded out. But this time I drilled it at a slight angle, because if I did it straight it would be like that, but I wanted it to have a little bit of an angle. I wanted it to match the overall shape, so I drilled the mortise, the 9mm mortise, at an angle so that it will go like that, and then I can bend it a bit and bring it back. But if I would have done it like that, it would have been okay. But I just wanted to try something new, and I wanted to just explore giving it a little bit more of dynamics by raising it a little bit there. I still need to just sand this out a little bit. It's very, very slightly too snug. This is a 10mm hole, and till now I've been using 10.2mm, which is I got that drill bit, which you wouldn't normally find in the shop. You know, a 10.2, you'd find 10 and then 11, but I got it from Axminster, which is a specialized website. What I need is 10.1. 10mm hole is slightly too tight, and I originally had this in, and it started to pull the tenon out of the stem. So I've re-glued it, and tomorrow I'm gonna just either sand it a little bit just to make it a drop wider, or maybe I'll go to the 10.2 and see. I mean, 10.2 is okay. I've done a couple of pipes with 10.2 and it's been fine, but I think over time it may loosen, so I'd like it to be just a little bit more snug. And in order to keep the mortise short, I drilled into the stem so that when I put a filter in, it slides right in. So in actual fact, I only had to drill into the shank as much as I needed for the tenon, and there's no need for room for the stem. There you go, it just completely goes inside, and then that will go in there, and there we go. Except you can't get the stem lifting out. There we go. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this one comes out. It's really up to me now not to mess it up. Everything seems to have worked out well. Where's my torch? There it is. The drill. The drill is bang in the middle, as you can see there. Worked out very well. Very happy with that. I just need to decide really, I don't know what you guys think. I need to decide whether to go for a round bowl or to do similar to what I did last time, which was sort of rounded corners but more of an oblong to match sort of that kind of shape, and just to overall keep the shape of the block. Or should I go for round? It'll be freehand. I want to try and keep this kind of shape here, almost tulip-like, like a flower. Roundish, yeah, I would probably agree. It's a little bit too simple to just leave it straight-sided. I like this little recess as well, and that will look, hopefully will look very nice once that's inside. I still haven't toyed with adornments, you know, bands and rings and things like that. That's something that I want to try as well. I still haven't even thought about it, so I don't know how it works. And I don't know if it's... I see some pipes where it's on, well, it wouldn't be on something like this, but on a standard pipe, sometimes it's on the shank and sometimes it's on the stem, it's glued to the stem. I think Northern Briar's stuff are glued to the shank. Yeah, oops, sorry, this one's hot, I shouldn't be breaking it down. All this talking and I'm not smoking. Yeah, so I'll probably do something like that, somewhere in between round and square, oblong. I want to try and keep as much of this as I can as well, because I want it to be a little bit sort of out there. I think that looks nice. And I've got to also work out, you see, what I find is that when you stain this black and then polish it, it looks good. But it's really hard to get a nice natural finish on the plateau. So I suppose I could stain it brown and then just slightly sand the top. See the right wire cap? That's what I did with this one. I stained this one brown and then just sanded the tops of the nodules to bring out the natural colour of the nodules. It looks a bit gnarly, which is what it's supposed to do. And I think it's overall okay, but there's just not enough nodules on this one to make it interesting. Once I take the corners off, it'll probably look a bit better. I was thinking also of sanding just the first few millimeters of the rim so that it sort of blends in, but I'm not sure about that. I do see some pipes like that, and sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. And if you have a smooth part to the rim, it's just an area that's going to get charred. Oh yeah, the corners I'm definitely leaving on that. I mean, that shape's done. I'm not doing anything to the shape on that one. It's just the stem. The problem I had with this one, if you haven't watched my video, was that I had to come back to this after it was off the lathe, and the hole was too big, so I plugged it, and the plug worked out very well. It was completely sealed and glued in. I re-drilled it, and I still managed to drill it off center. So for now, I've just put in a spare stem, but I'll either re-plug it and re-drill it again, or I'll send it off to somebody to sort out. But I'm not sure if I'm going to keep this one or maybe try and sell it. We'll see. It's besides for that aspect, it's a great pipe. It's got a beautiful briar, lovely grain. Hi Daniel. Really nice grain. Very minimal sand pits, hardly anything on it. It's a very clean piece of briar. I think that's about the only sand pit on this pipe. Oh, there's a tiny fleck there as well, which I could, if I'd go deeper, I could probably sand it out, but I'm not going to mess with it. That's a beautiful piece of briar, that. What do you think of it, Josh? I tried 965 in my first summer vacation in Wales. Not in Wales, it was in Hereford. The first year that I was smoking a pipe, and I did a box opening from Danish Pipe Shop. I had them send me a box with a pipe to Hereford, and I think I had a tin of 965 in there. At the time, I found it too smoky. How is it compared to, say, Nightcap? Is it the very sort of acidy, smoky flavour, or is it a sweet, sour smokiness? Well, it's going to be a freehand, and this is the shape roughly, but obviously it's going to be rounded and sanded and shaped more. This here is going to be sort of more profiled. Oh right, you haven't opened Nightcap. I actually quite enjoyed Nightcap when I smoked it, but I haven't really gone back to it very much. Well, this Dark Strong Kentucky, as I'm getting through the bowl now, a little bit savoury. Some of the sweetness is gone, and it's starting to remind me of a burley. So similar to Three Nuns Green. I have made a couple of straight pipes. In actual fact, the proper straight pipes that I've made are both outside in the garage. This one is straight after a fashion, but obviously more of a artisanal shape. Nice green on this one as well. Alright, so I got a package in from Jeff, OCD Piper. So I thought I'd show you the contents of that because I've already opened it. I had some issues with the video when I recorded it, so I'm just going to show them to you. Very generous package from Canada. And he did send me an email beforehand and told me that it was going to be a distinctly Canadian package, which was very sweet of him. Canadian people seem to be very proud of their nationality. Mike, if you're still there. And I've got a package from Ben, previously known as Unicorn Piper, now the old Ben and the Old Soul, something like that. We exchanged packages going back a good couple of years ago when we first started presenting, so it's probably more like three and a half years ago. And he also sent me a Canadian package with Canadian maple lollies and sweets and what else was there? Something else Canadian. Can't remember what it was. But yeah, anyway. So the first thing that came out of the package was some cigars. So there's a couple of cigars. This one's called Dominion Flor de Claro, and this one's called Dominion Classic. And he also sent me another of the Cuban Diplomaticos Canadian Regional Edition. He had sent me one before, but I haven't smoked it yet, so he said maybe if he sends me another one, then I'll actually smoke one. And he's probably quite right. So I'm going to do a video on that one when I get round to it. And then he sent me some really interesting stuff. He sent me some Old Port Tabac à Pipe, which is a mild aromatic. It looks like it's a grape. Well, Old Port, there you go. I don't know if it's exclusive to Canada or not. And then came out this stem. Now this is the Brigham. He uses the Brigham system, which is a tube of wood, absorbent wood, which goes in the stem. It's hollow, so your smoke goes right through, and this wood absorbs a lot of the moisture. And I assumed he wanted me to put this into a different pipe, or maybe make a pipe around it, but then I pulled out the next piece, and he had sent me it was a complete pipe, but he'd broken it down and I didn't realize that he had sent me a complete pipe, which was very cool. So this is a rusticated Brigham billiard. Can't quite make out on it, says on it patent, and there's a patent number, and you can just about make out the Brigham. I don't know if you could see it, just there you can see the GHAM there, and there's some number 802T over there, so that came in with it as well. There was a box with a few of these filters in. They're called rock maple distillators. They do not impede airflow. Okay, so they are basically those things. It's very cool. I did say to him, I took a whiff of the bowl, and it does have a distinct granny pants aroma. And then a very cool addition was this beautiful coffee cup. Everybody seems to think that I need coffee cups, and I'm really grateful, but my wife is going mad. There's a shelf downstairs in the kitchen which has all my mugs on it, and it's pretty full. The hinges, the brackets on the wall are straining, they're creaking, they're protesting at the weight of all these mugs. But this is a very, very cool mug. Tim Hortons coffee, and to cap it all, he also sent me some Tim Hortons sachets of coffee. So definitely going to drink that, and maybe we'll do a little video on that coffee. So that was this little package from OCD Piper, which was very, very, very generous and very much appreciated. And that all sits very nicely over there. You'll have to let us know if that works as good for bite as the charcoal. Don't know what you're saying there, Josh. Thanks, Daniel. I'm alright, really, honestly. I'm trying to get around to sending stuff out myself. I've got a backlog of packages to make up and send out. Well, this dark, strong Kentucky, because it's got a casing on it, I guess that casing sort of doesn't last throughout the smoke. Oh right, Josh, I got you. Okay, yeah, that's I assume the purpose of those things, and it's I'll definitely give it a try. Just a bit weary of that flavour in the pipe, but maybe I'll smoke a Latakia blend in there. There's still a hint of a sweet fruity flavour in there. I don't know if that's the Virginias or if it's the casing. But it's nice. It is nice. A little bit of a licoricey flavour coming in now at the end. But the first half of the bowl definitely more preferable to me anyway. No, it's not a broken flake. It's a flake. It is a sandwich, yeah. It's a flake sandwich. It's a tobacco flake as opposed to a snowflake. Definitely, it does look good enough to eat. I agree with you on that. There is, it's probably a combination of the ashiness going through the bowl, the Kentucky and the Virginias. There's a bit of a, as I say, like a licoricey kind of flavour coming in. I don't know what the age of this is. Can anybody tell? Can you tell what it is yet? Anybody know from that number? Where's Yanis when you need him? $2018. So that's the 1807, is it? Is that what it is? So it's really fresh. So yeah, Josh was right. Definitely needs to be aged. Ladon Briarblade, a rare privilege. Welcome. How you doing, Ladon? Cool. I'm hoping to get a package out to you this week. I'm a bit behind on my packages, but hopefully this week. I've got no weddings this week. At least I don't think I have. Let me just have a quick look at my diary. I've got a couple of smaller jobs, but no weddings, so hopefully we'll get around to doing some packages this week. I'm doing very well, Ladon. Can't complain. Been really, really hot today. Not as far as I'm aware, Mike. I haven't heard anything yet. I was talking about it at the beginning of this video, how frustrating it is sending stuff abroad these days, and receiving stuff. The postage, I don't know if it's this is La Gloria Cubana label. I think actually Ladon made this one. It was either Ladon or Danny Shaw, I forget. Hey, Mr. Ayman, how you doing, Mr. Ayman? Long time no see. Been a while. Yeah, so Mike, the packages have been not as reliable as it has been in the past. Stuff not arriving and to destinations, and stuff not arriving here. Maui sent me a package maybe 2-3 weeks ago. Well, as I think I mentioned, I was in touch with Canada Post. I went on a live chat with them, and they were an absolute waste of time. Just blowing me off with sort of standard lines of, once it gets to any, we can't track any international packages. I didn't see the point, because I sent it tracked. I paid for tracking here in the UK. So what's the point of paying for tracking if you can't track it? Well, it'll be very, very disappointing if it doesn't arrive at its destination. I couldn't say I've not had Peter Heinrichs. I've been thinking of getting some of the medallions, the bullseye, but I imagine it's going to be very similar to the various other bullseye flakes that you can get. Not exactly the same. I've smoked the Helix pipe once, I think, so far, and it smoked very well. It smoked really hot, which is to be expected on a new pipe. Good night, Mark. Thank you for joining. Cheers, Ladon. But it's a very nice pipe to smoke, I'll tell you that much. It's quite a long pipe, but it's really light. It clenches very, very well. It's done an awesome job. It's kind of a blend between his rocks cut and a sand blast. But clearly the most attractive thing on this is the shank. And he's also done an amazing job on the stem. I really like the stems he's got in stock recently. It is a big bowl, but it's quite narrow. Almost my whole finger goes in, but it's quite a narrow bowl. I would say that my pipe with the longest smoke in it so far has been the Savinelli 606. Yeah, it certainly looks like a flake chamber. But in terms of potentially the longest, it's definitely the pulse pipe, the one with the new stem. Ian made me this beautiful Cumberland stem, 8 inches. turned this pipe into a proper church warden, and this has got a huge, humongous bowl. I mean, this, I could probably make this last a couple of hours, no problem. He did an awesome job on the stem on this one. I should have loaded up this pipe actually. It'll last the whole of the stream. No, not particularly, Daniel. That one was, I managed 50 odd minutes in that, I think. Or was it 48 minutes? It's not a particularly big pipe. They only gave you 3 grams of tobacco, so it was never going to smoke for 2 hours. I think I will load up that pulse pipe. That way I can show you lighting. I can show you lighting in the bowl. Hey Maui, been mentioning you several times today already. Well, they're two different beasts, the two church warden. One is filtered and one isn't. This is the Peterson church warden that I won. This one is not 9mm, and I would still trade this with somebody. This is a real church warden. It's a silver spigot, nice green, sort of Irishy kind of note to it. Very sleek, very lightweight. They even sent some long pipe cleaners with it. But this one is not 9mm, so I'm not likely to smoke it. Even though with a long stem it might make it less bitey, but I don't see the point. It's quite a small, it's like a Prince shape in the bowl, but it's sort of stout, so there's width to it. So there's plenty, you could smoke that for probably 40-45 minutes. It does, Daniel, it does look like a squashed tomato. Alright, so I was going to have some Dunhill flake before, so I am going to load up this pulse pipe with some Dunhill flake. And believe it or not, Paul actually gifted me this pipe. And I once very nearly put it into one of my sales, forgetting that it was a gift. And he pointed it out and I promptly took it out of the sale. Just going to give this a quick clean because it's never been smoked, and make sure there's no rubbish in there, which there is. Okie dokie. It's going to need quite a bit of tobacco, this, but I'm not going to fill it right up. This is from 2015. It's nearly 4 years old. I got this from a guy on Facebook who was selling up his tobaccos. He stopped smoking, I think. And there was, when I first got it, I think it was either 100 or 200 grams of this stuff. And again, when I first got it, it tasted really bland. But now it tastes fantastic. Having said that, the last time I smoked it, I didn't enjoy it as much as the previous time. Not sure why. Yeah, we were talking about bad mail. Monclaude Gansdam, welcome. Hey Dublin, how you doing? Haven't seen you for a while. Alright, that's enough to be getting on with. Yeah, it's a little bit cliched, isn't it, Dublin? Rather immature of me. Can you see the ball? Oh, this is nice. Talk amongst yourselves while I enjoy this pipe. You can enjoy listening to my noises as I enjoy the pleasure of this. Yum. Tell you what, you don't feel like it takes that. There's a delay coming up that stem. That's a good smoke. This pipe has been through several iterations, I have to say, but I think we've finally arrived at where it should be. I'm not sure yet, Daniel. I want to try and see that myself. When I first got this pipe, it came from... This one was from La Don Mott, I think. He made this. So it originally came with a stem, with a very nice swirly stem, which was about that long. I then sent it off to Ian to convert to 9mm, and he had some issues with the stem. Obviously there was some mishap on the way, so he put this ring on because I think there was some damage to the shank, and he put a new stem on. But originally he was going to put a Cumberland stem, and he put an acrylic one on, so he said that I should send it back to him at some point and he'll put a new stem on. So when I went to Nottingham Pipe Show recently, I gave him the pipe back again and I asked him to make me a full length church warden. So that's what he did, with a beautiful Cumberland stem. It does make you feel a bit Gandalf-y. Andy, I always leave my tobacco out a little bit when I first open it and get some air to it, and then I jar it up. I'm wearing an invisible one right now. Yeah, invisible ones are really cool in both the meanings of the word. And so to bed is not a flake, Montclaud. And so to bed would be rubbed out, and that sounds like it's absolutely fine what you've got. Well, church wardens, in practical terms, in modern times, certainly. Yes, Josh, spot on. In modern times, certainly, they make excellent reading pipes because it keeps the smoke away from your eyes. I do find that they also, as soon as you light up a church warden, it just propels you into relaxation. The original reason, at least that's what the legend is that church wardens used to have these pipes with very long stems because they were on guard in churches and they had to keep an eye on everything, making sure everything was safe, but they weren't allowed to smoke in the vestry. So they used to have the pipe bowl out the window, but they would be inside smoking. And that's the way the story goes anyway. I'm not really feeling that it's particularly cooler, really. But having said that, this pipe hasn't been broken in yet. I've had it for probably 2.5 years, and I've only smoked it, a handful of times because of the issues. It's been out of my hands for a long time, a lot of that time, and it's not been broken in yet. So the bowl's pretty hot. They definitely have had a resurgence, Daniel, after the Lord of the Rings movies. And if you go to any toy shop, like for instance Hamley's, surprisingly enough, which is a toy shop, but they do have some of the Gandalf type pipes on sale. And you've got the whole Auenland series of pipes. Oh right, I didn't know that tree. It makes sense. They do look like a candle snuffer. But I wouldn't want to have wax in my pipe bowl. Hey, happy smoking. A Meerschaum church warden. I would imagine they do exist. But I think it would decrease the risk of whacking it on something. A little bit bitey actually. Not sure why. I don't know if that's because the pipe is relatively unbroken in. It is smoking hot actually, which is surprising given the length of the stem. Well, everybody, I think I've exhausted my topics. Unless any of you guys want to raise some questions or talk about any other topic or any of the topics that I've been speaking about on my channel in the last week or two, happy to do that. I've got a few videos I need to catch up on. Quite a few people have started talking about this demonetization business. Which I hope won't affect us in the long run. So with that, I'm going to wish you all a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. My daughter's invited us to her new flat for milkshakes tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Moving to another platform, personally I think would be a bit of a disaster. See you, Maui. Yeah, it's a great video. Chad's video. Thanks for joining, everybody. Thanks, Maui. Thanks, Kanjiro, Groovin Piper, Dublin Piper, Daniel, of course, Paladin, Happy Smokes, Tree, Ladon, Andy Lucas, Mont Claude, and everybody else. Thanks for joining. Have a wonderful evening, have a wonderful morning, have a great weekend, and I'll catch you on the next one. Hopefully with a progress on my new pipe. Nighty night.